Hi, I'm Father Anthony Hannon from Viam Pacis, and this is To Prepare His Way. I'm out walking in the woods today. It's Sunday, November the 24th, 2019. It's a beautiful day. It's about 6 degrees Celsius, which is about 43 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's a beautiful blue sky. I'm out here. Most of the snow is gone now. That's the way it is in November. We have cold days and nights, we have warm days and cold nights, and a big mixture of things. And quite often in this area, as we approach December the 25th, we are wondering whether we're going to have white Christmas or not. So anyway, it's just excellent to be out here, and I love it out here in the woods right now because the foliage is all down. I do have evergreen trees on this property, but mostly we have leaves and they've all fallen down. And what is so cool is I can see a lot further, and I can see the terrain. I can see the hills and the valleys and the rocks. And if I was quiet and I didn't have my dog with me, I might even be able to sneak up on some deer or something. But anyway, today, most of the church is celebrating the solemnity of Christ the King. And normally, if I was in a parish, I would be preaching about Disney's The Lion King, and also kind of cross-referencing that with something I read from Campus Crusade for Christ about, 30 years ago when I was doing my undergrad. And basically, Campus Crusade, the way they explain it anyway, is that everyone has a throne in their heart, and if Christ is on the throne, if he's sitting on the throne, then you can be happy. And if he's not on the throne, if someone else is there, and I think their take is mostly if you're there instead, right? So you're doing your own selfish thing, then your life is not going to be that great. And I see some connections with the Lion King, because when the king that was not supposed to be on the throne was in charge, so when Scar was in charge, then what happened was the whole place was a mess, and the hyenas were running the show. Sorry, I'm in kind of a deep thicket here, and so I'm trying to navigate around. I don't have boots on or anything, and I'm actually close to the road. I don't think I've ever walked on this part of the property before. Anyway, so I make connections with that, and I think for anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear, I think you can maybe make some connections as well with the state and the church today. But I'll just leave it like that, because what I was really thinking about for this next video, which is this video, is to talk about spiritual abuse. So there's a lot of talk about abuse in the church, and typically when people think of the Catholic Church and abuse, they think of some terrible things that priests have done, and cover-ups of bishops and cover-ups of others and stuff like that. And all sorts of people jump to all sorts of conclusions. But anyway, what I'm saying is that all of the abuse in the church is spiritual abuse. And I'm not trying to minimize any other type of abuse. What I'm saying is, adding on top of kind of the human tragedy of people abusing others, especially abuse of power, when it comes to the church, it's spiritual abuse. And some of you have seen my video called "Oh My God, Is That a Sin?" Hey Vicar, come on. And in there I touch on breaking the second commandment, or the third commandment if you want to number the commandments differently, which is thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain, and how we misuse God's name. So, and anyone, so a priest or a bishop or a religious person, whatever stripe, misuses his or her authority, then that's spiritual abuse. That's a violation of the second commandment. And when anyone, calls on God as his witness to, kind of justify themselves or anything like that, that is a violation of the second commandment. And I call all of that spiritual abuse. And that, if you think about it, is even worse than any type of physical abuse. And again, I'm not minimizing physical abuse as a terrible, terrible thing. And now I'm approaching an area which is often kind of underwater. And this should be really interesting. I wonder if I can get past that. I've got a little bit of snow here. I don't have boots on, but I think I can get through here. Right. So anyway, the reason spiritual abuse is so bad, because we're talking about someone's relationship with God. We're talking about someone's, soul, immortal soul. We have a beginning, but we don't have an end. And when the Lord comes again, we'll have resurrected bodies, and we'll, either be spending eternity in heaven and the beatific vision, or in hell and eternal torment. So this is a very, very serious thing. And when people are abused, when they're in abusive situations, well, I'm close to the road and the car is coming. Just a second here. So when people are in abusive situations, a lot of times people say things like, well, leave the bum, right? Leave the bum, abandon the situation. And, it's very, very troubling, I'm sure you agree, when people leave the church because of the abuse and the scandals. That's heartbreaking. In recovery, we talk about, geographical cures. And, geographical cures don't work because you always take yourself with you. And what people don't realize, and I'm not blaming the victim here, okay, that's not what I'm doing, but habits form in terms of coping. And when habits form, we don't realize it, but we kind of become sick as well. And you may take yourself out of the situation, but then you still have the same way of living. It's a little bit of a strange thing, but maybe I'll explain a little bit more in another video. However, okay, so there is ice down there. See, the beavers built a new dam up at the creek, which is really kind of cool, but it also flooded a lot of the area. And I do have to come down here sometime. I don't have boots on now, but I do have to come down and see, how much flooding have they done here? Anyway, this is part of nature and it's beautiful, but we better get back. So sorry about that. I'm going to turn around and the sun is going to be in my back, and my face is probably just going to be a shadow, but we got to go back. Maybe I can walk a little bit further. I do see, I'm getting thorn bushes already, and it is Sunday, and I've got my dress pants, and I still have my clerical shirt on and everything. So I'm not really dressed for a walk in the thick bush. And here's a steep hill. I don't want to fall. It was bad enough that I fell in that video about the fresh snowfall. It would be really embarrassing to fall here. But that is quite steep, and it's all leaves. Where is my dog? Okay, I'll try it. So, anyway, what was I talking about? Right, geographical cure. Now, if you watch my other video on confirmation bias, and then especially confirmation bias special edition, special Catholic edition, I talk about shopping around for parishes, and I'm like, no, you're allowed to do that. It's okay. You can have a parish of practice, and it's not necessarily your parish of domicile where you live. But that's okay. But I'm trying to kind of caution people a little bit and ask them to keep an open mind. And there's a lot of other things about parish renewal and how you, the laity who are faithful, can actually help those whatever, suburban liberal priests or whatever. There's a reason why things have become they are. And for example, almost every major city has a parish as downtown that's a little bit more traditional, even if it's not a Latin only mass parish. But there's, a lot of confessions are heard, and quite often they have, good. There's some deer dung, yeah. And right. Anyway, geographical cure. When someone is in an abusive situation, right? So there's physical violence or even just emotional violence. Like, it's okay to go and try to find a safe place, like you can imagine, especially if there's children involved, a wife to take her children away, or husband for that matter, if it's an abusive wife. But as Catholics, we ought to try to have the attitude of we want to heal, we want to fix the situation if at all possible. Now, you can't change other people, but now we've got the flooded area, and I'll turn it around here. So I don't think that's very deep, and I don't know if my dog is probably going to want to walk on that ice. Hey, A&W. I don't know how this got back there. Looks like an old can though, pretty old. I don't know if there's a date on it anywhere. Yeah, so it's okay to, find a safe place for a little while to, get your bearings and that type of thing. And you don't necessarily have to go back, like if it's, if a person's going to continue to be abusive and things like that. But, yeah, my heart breaks when I hear people leaving the Catholic Church, really throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But I understand also if you feel like you had to do that, if someone felt like they had to do that. But I'm here to kind of, if you're in that situation, kind of call you back, but not into an abusive situation. We don't want that. And as I explained in that video called Francis Cannot Take Away Your Faith, you do have the power, but you may not realize it. You don't have the power to kind of not be abused, but it's easy to fall into. So now I'm getting into these thorn bushes. I don't know if you can see that. See that? You can make a crown of thorns out of that. Okay. I don't have gloves on either. Oh well. Good thing I'm a tough Canadian. Anyway, it's all spiritual abuse. And this is one of the things that I might be able to help some people with. I am a Catholic priest. I'm so grateful for this calling. I'm so grateful to be doing what I'm doing, which is, for those of you who don't know, I'm establishing a retreat center. And I'm very grateful to my bishop to allow me to do this. And I'm very grateful to some of you who are supporting me financially. But that's kind of another thing. But the other way that the other lens that I look at things, in addition to the revelation of Christ and the teachings of the Church, which I'm completely committed to. And when I say that, I'm saying about the consistent teachings of the Church throughout the centuries. And I'm always learning and all that type of thing. Okay, now I'm approaching the real prickly ones. I wonder if I can get up a hill, because I really want to take a look and see how much that flooding has done. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Can you see that? Wow. Anyway, what am I talking about now? Oh, nice pines here. Nice pines. Really nice. Anyway, the other lens that I look through is how I interpret life is through addictions and codependency, dysfunctional families, dysfunctional systems, and recovery of that. And I've kind of gone through hell and back in some ways along those lines. And so I know the way out. And kind of like Plato's allegory of the cave, if you anyone who knows about that, I feel kind of an obligation to give what I have. You can't give what you don't have, but what you do have, you should give it. So if you want to stick around, that's what I think I can help people with. So instead of just talking about that, I'd like to just give one little piece of one little tool, and that is, it's important to talk about these things. That's why I give credit to Michael Vorse and the people at Church Militant, and also LifeSite News. We could add Taylor Marshall, all sorts of things. Everyone, I think, realizes they don't have it all. They don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. But these people are at least talking about things, and that's very, very important. Because it's this, you're only as sick as your secrets. And as long as we don't talk about these things, then, then we're dead in the water. And, gossip is a sin, and detraction is a sin. What's the difference? Well, gossip is, spreading rumors. You don't know if they're true. Especially if you're starting the rumor, you know it's not true. That's really, really bad. Now, so that's gossip. And, did you hear this? Did you hear that? It's not good. Now, detraction is something is true, but it's not necessary that everybody knows it. So, if that's the case, this is really, really thick here. I'm just trying to see if I'm getting any of those thorn bushes before I walk through it. I don't really want to rip this jacket, and I don't want to come out with cuts all over me either. And that's happened before. There we go. Vicar? Anyway, so then it becomes a kind of a discernment thing. Should I be talking about this, that, or the other thing, especially with another person? Should I be talking about this, that, or the other person, about someone else, publicly, say on YouTube or something? And when do you cross that line? And one of the things with codependency is the misplaced guilt. So a codependent person feels guilty, feels responsible for the ones who are behaving badly. And then they feel guilty if they speak about it. And we've got to overcome that. And I would say err on talking instead of on silence. I would err on that side. And your conscience will tell you if you've gone too far. But I didn't hear a splash or anything, and I don't hear my dog crying. So I don't know where he is, but we're walking towards the creek, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to get close enough to the creek to show you. The water should be moving pretty fast there. I don't know. Anyway, it's important to talk. Now, while I'm on that, there's another tool of recovery, which is to put principles above personalities. Principles above personalities. That means to listen to what is said rather than who is saying it. And I find that nowadays, in our Catholic circles, there's a lot of ad hominem going on. That's a philosophical term, which means attacking the person instead of the actual argument. And when that happens, you're not getting anywhere. You're just writing people off. Here's a car. Hope my dog's not on the road. No, there he is. Anyway, ad hominem. And this also, look at this. This also ties into what I've said before about keep an open mind. Keep an open mind, but not so open that your brain falls out. So, take what you like, leave the rest, all that type of thing. But try to keep an open mind, and we might learn something. And while I'm on that, about spiritual abuse, I find in the Catholic Church one of the one of the really abusive things is a misunderstanding of obedience. And we're entering, cult territory. I'm not talking like, historically, like what a religious cult is, like in the good sense. I'm talking about the normal use of the word nowadays, which is kind of like, controlling others and brainwashing and that type of thing. Okay, Vic, come on. Get off the ice. Can you see him coming? He fell in the water. I wonder how wet he is. I'm glad you got out, Vicar. Come here. Now that was a good lesson. That was a good lesson for you. Are you okay? You're cold? Is the water cold? I guess so. So I thought I'd show you the new beaver dam. There it is right there. And Vicar must have fell in the water over there somewhere. So all that area over there is flooded. Vicar, look at me. Look at me. Sit. Vicar, sit. Sit. Look at me. Vicar. Hello. Say hi to the camera. Why are you ignoring me? Look at me. Vicar. What's this? What's this?